it's Drybear. The reactors of the week have rolled over, and we also, with the last patch, got a nice update to where reactors drop. So I'm gonna cover both of those today in one video. Now, they were planning on implementing an implant system that we could use to change the mounted weapon on a reactor in-game. However, that did not go live last week with the launch of the second update for Season 1. So along with that, we got kind of this halfway measure, which in some cases made the game a little bit worse, but also gave you more options depending on what you're trying to get. So right now, it is possible to farm a reactor for any build in the game any week that you want. It's just going to be a little bit more RNG than it was before, which some would argue, and rightly so, that it was already too RNG as it was. But this list is actually not available anywhere in game. It's only on the patch notes in this big text, so I wanted to make a resource that people could use to reference it as they're playing the game. So I've created this handy dandy reference sheet. I'll leave this down below in the description and in the comments that you can use as well. The top portion is your basic 1440 resolution, so you can see where the map is as well. And I've also included at the bottom portion a reference for all of the characters in the game, what ability types they use. So the way the default permanent reactor system works now is that regardless of what the rotation for Reactor of the Week is, there will be a guaranteed spot where you can get a reactor combination based on the element type and the ability type that's fixed and will always be there. And this system coincides with the Reactor of the Week rotation. So if you have a location that has two different kinds, it's going to drop both of those reactor types and randomize that as you go. But if you're looking for any kind of build in the game, you'll be able to get that by going to these locations as listed on this, and I just made a map out of it. So I used the reactor icon for the specific reactor, the element type, the location, and of course the ability type. But unlike the in-game Reactor of the Week, where it gives you an element type, a ability type, and also an ammo type, these are going to be random ammo. So you can go to these locations, say you needed like a non-attribute singular, like this one right here, you would go to Ogden Desert, Vermilion Waste, and you can just farm anything in that zone over and over. It will give random ammo types, but they will be dropping consistently, and until we see an update, probably for Season 2, we will see some changes to this, hopefully, and maybe even with the new Descendant, mixing things up. But hopefully that helps people understand where those permanent reactors are located and where they can go to farm. So even if the Reactor of the Week rotation in-game does not have something that you need, you still have a chance of getting a reactor that might be good for the builds you're working on by going to any of these locations listed on the permanent reactor list. But of course, you can always go into game to the main map and go to difficulty level rewards, and on this list, either this list or going to all rewards, you can see the rotation of these reactors throughout the week and these last 7 days total, and they'll swap over to the next one. And these ones, unlike the permanent reactor list, these will have an element, an ammo type, and an ability type. And luckily with the permanent reactors, they made sure that every combination that is possible in the game right now is available. Now, a quick note on this is that I only included in this list down here the builds that are possible. And I didn't exclude them if they were non-viable. So if you wanted to do like non-attribute dimension rocket Enzo, which is pretty weak to be honest, but still technically possible, I kept that on here. However, if it has a combination of ability type and element where there is no scaling possible, so like singular for Blair or dimension for Freyna, where even if you run dimension, there's no impact on the ability that has that ability type, I left it off this list. But this gives you a list of where the most possible and all the available builds are for these characters, so that you can look at, learn a little bit about the reactor icon images as well as their type, and then you can come up here to the permanent reactor locations, find where those drop in the world, and if you wanted to farm, you certainly can. Another cool part about this, it's part cool, part painful, depending on how you look at it, is that this covers every zone in the game right now with permanent reactor drops. However, that also means that this reactor rotation is laying on top of it. So you can go and test this yourself, but if you go to these locations, like say you have Mirage Stone here, Mirage Stone this week drops Toxic Special Tech for Freyna. If you were to go to Mirage Stone on the permanent list, it drops a Chill Reactor, a Chill Tech Reactor. It will drop both of them during the week. These two systems are overlaid on top of each other, so you will get both of those reactor types this week if you farm in that location. Now, that does technically mean that you may be getting less drops Potentially, I haven't tested it thoroughly enough to know that they are competing with each other. They seem to be dropping separately, and they will drop at the same time, but it's going to be a lot more RNG they'll be digging through as well. So keep in mind that you can find some that overlap and maybe are super useful. Maybe even find a location that has a permanent reactor drop that has something you're looking for, and then the rotation of the week is also dropping something you're looking for, so you can farm both of them at once if the locations line up. So I'll leave this image down below in the comments in the description if you want to use it as reference. This, I'm guessing, won't change until season 2, likely when we get a new Descendant. And you can even see at the bottom here what we're missing. We only have really toxic tech for the toxic element characters, and that's why I'm hoping the data mined Scar Descendant is a toxic Descendant that can take advantage of Singular and Fusion just to round us out a little bit. And you can also see that there's no electric tech Descendant, and there's no electric dimension Descendant either, so we obviously have some gaps between those two elements, and we also are pretty light on like chill and fire comparatively as well. Next are the reactors this week, and this goes through the end of October 21st. If you're looking for the farm here, these are the best in slot ones that are for very strong meta builds right now. I can include the full list as well as an image, but this is going to be the best in slot ones. There is a great Sniper Haley singular high power one you could use for piercing light on the Zenith Haley build. You can also get a nice Blizzard VS tech build using Frostwatcher, a mobbing bunny. This is like a classical bunny on the old style with Thunder Cage. There are two options for Blair. A lot of people would argue that Blair Dimension would use Enduring Legacy for this, and honestly, they'd probably be right. Personally, for me, I like running Nazastras on Blair as an impact round for various reasons, but Enduring Legacy is also incredibly good for him and has great synergy with the fire passive and the extra firearm attack on top of that as well. There's also a non-attribute general singular reactor for Eugen and Luna. You can get Enduring Legacy for this, very easy to pick up. There's also a Glay Python build, which you don't necessarily need for Dimension, but it does have some added benefits to that build as well. You can run with a Dimension Executor Glay. Again, doesn't need a Dimension just because it is a weapon-based build, but it does have some benefits. And one of my favorites for Glay is the Crunch Glay, the AoE skill damage Glay that uses Peacemaker. That's best in slot this week, White Knight Gulch, the Mountaintops. You also have a perfect best in slot Kyle Ajax Secret Garden Tech Reactor this week in Vesper's Timberfall. This one works for like Jumping Jacks or the Tech Damage Kyle build, and Secret Garden works perfectly for that build. So if you're looking for that as well, there also is some synergy there for Tech Luna if you were building her that way. Additionally, if you're looking for an excellent build option for Freyna, is going to be the Toxic Tech Special Rounds Secret Garden build. This works awesome for her. She has perfect synergy with Secret Garden. You could also run with a general rounds with Python, especially if you're doing more of a dot-based build, rather than like a weapon-based build or like unique weapon, or even just doing Contagion. But Secret Garden is great by itself, but it also has huge synergy with Freyna, and this is one of her best in slot reactors. So a lot of really strong builds. There's no like Mega Man Lepic build options this week. Nothing crazy outside of that, but if you are looking for some very strong reactors, these are the best ones they would recommend trying to farm this week, on top of the permanent reactors that would be in that area as well. In this list, I've also included all the best missions that are the most efficient for farming inside of that, plus additional notes that you may need, like Abandoned Village resetting at the timer since the spawns start to slow down at about 2:30. But all of these, I think, are the best spots, the best missions to farm all of these together. And I'll also leave my full spreadsheet here, so I've marked down all of the other reactors that exist this week. I wouldn't consider any of these like best in slot meta builds, but they're quite close. Like if you wanted to do like old school mobbing Haley without the new mod with a Clairvoyance, you could. Cold Snap Viesa Fusion is very good with Clairvoyance, though I would wish that this was Impact so you could run the new Frostwatcher. But if you wanted to do a Cold Snap Viesa with Clairvoyance, you certainly could. There are some decent options for like Condensed Bunny / Shank Sharon for melee, and you can run different weapons here as well, just not so perfect for that as an option. You could get a Mega Man Lepic reactor this week with General on Enduring Legacy, but generally you would want an Impact round because the Impact round Sharp Precision Shot module does better for Mega Man Lepic than Enduring Legacy does in that specific build. There's an okay build for SEMO if you wanted to do launchers. It's not perfect, but it is there as well. And there's a couple others here that you can look at. I'll leave this list so you guys can see it. And of course, there's a link to my spreadsheet down below as well. If you found value in today's video, leave a like down below, leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people. And don't forget to check out my other channels for other content and other stuff and other things.